Hi class, this is Sarah Beakley-Mercill, your instructor for CIS220DF Photoshop Level 2. I thought I would create a short video just giving you a quick tour of my Canvas classroom and spotlighting some of the different activities that you're going to be doing and just kind of lay out some of my expectations. Some of you have had me as a teacher before, so you're already familiar with my teaching style and how I've organized my classes. But if you're new, this will be great for you, and even for those of you who had me before, there'll be a few things here that you might want to check out. So first of all, when you log into my Canvas course, you'll always land on the home page, and I have my course designed week by week. Each one of these weeks is a module. And so you just want to scroll down and expand whatever module you're working on. I'm going to talk kind of about, we're in the middle of week 2 when I'm making this video, and I'm going to talk about week 2 and week 3. So you can hide and expand each of these modules if you didn't know. I like to keep whatever week we're working on, I keep open and I hide the rest just to keep my Canvas environment clean. And then you will see at the top of every module I have a link to a general discussion board forum where you can post general questions about the course, assignments, anything and everything related to what we're doing. And of course, if someone else knows the answer, please feel free to reply, and I will do so as well. I'm checking them often. And then you'll come down, so let's say I didn't have any questions this week, I would go ahead and click on the first link, and in this case it's Module 1 Learning Objectives, so I'll click on it, and because this week we're starting a new module of the course, the first module, it's going to tell you every single thing, all these things you're going to be doing over the next several weeks, and those all relate to these specific course competencies that are laid out in the course syllabus. My courses are designed using Quality Matters. It's a nationally recognized peer review system for online course evaluation. I myself am a master reviewer, so that is why you see these course objectives here. Students should definitely know what they're going to be learning and why they're learning them. So when you get to the bottom of any page, you want to just go ahead and click Next, and it's just going to take you to the next item. And so I have my courses designed in a linear fashion that I expect students to proceed through the work linearly. So complete this assignment next. This reading assignment would be the next thing you would do, and then you would work on that and you would click Next and go to the next item in the list. And so you'll see here's another reading assignment. So reading assignments can either come from your textbook, or they're ones that I have created myself where I've created the custom content, and so you just want to read through that. And anytime I have custom reading assignments, I like to put a lot of videos in. Photoshop is a wonderful tool, but you can learn so much when other people show you, and the web and YouTube is the most current place to find videos. Piximperfect is one of my favorites, as well as Flurn, and you'll see some others throughout the course. Obviously, if you find your own videos, I encourage everyone to always be looking for videos. But when I do place them in here, I expect that you guys are watching them, because that will enhance the learning. That's going to help you with upcoming projects, book projects, and other applied projects. Every video that's been placed in my course should have closed captioning with it, so just make sure to go ahead and click that CC button if you need that. And so I'd scroll to the bottom and go to the next assignment, which in this case is another reading assignment. This was metadata. This was related to the metadata assignment that was actually due yesterday. And so you're just going to come down, click Next, and you would see here is that metadata of assignment. So you will have already completed it, but just to point out a few things, inside the assignments I will always give you directions. I will also tell you the due date. This is an important part to look at. So you'll see this assignment was due February 5th, and I tell you what kind of file you need to submit. And I also remember that even though my assignments are due at midnight, I will always give you a 3-hour extension past the deadline with no penalty. We all have lives, we all work, sometimes things happen at the last minute. I obviously don't recommend you do your work at midnight and turn it in at 3 a.m., but that little buffer is there just in case you need it. And so as you scroll through, you'll see there are directions. I will let you know how I want the file submitted. Whatever your file name should be, it is important for you to pay attention to file names. It is important to name your files properly. And then probably what's really important and what you're looking for is the grading rubric. I have a grading rubric for every single assignment in my course. They're very detailed with a lot of feedback. For those of you who've had me in past semesters, my rubrics have received a facelift of my Photoshop courses, so I'm very excited. I think they're very, I'm really excited for these rubrics. It's a nerdy teacher thing if you get excited about stuff like that. But you want to go ahead and use this as a guide to make sure you're hitting all the points in the class. And then I will always grade your assignments, and if there's more feedback, I'll always provide that. And so let's say if I was done with this assignment and I wanted to jump back out, I would just go back to the home link, and then it would reload the page and I could come back in and out as much as I like. And so again, you want to proceed through the work in the order that it's listed. For assignments that come from your textbook, there are two kinds of assignments that I want to talk about. The first one are the projects. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. This is coming due this Saturday. And this is a tutorial-based assignment that comes from your textbook. You'll see that I give you an overview. I give you a link to the chapter notes that come from your textbook, so there's always a companion document. If you didn't know, in Canvas, anytime you see this little preview icon, if you click it, you can actually see, in this case, a PowerPoint or PDFs or Word documents will actually be displayed so that you can read more about it. So these companion documents are really nice because they summarize a lot of the terminology and key points, and they definitely can help you and for you to use them on your upcoming tests. If there's any steps that have errors or just helpful hints, I'm going to put them in the assignment. So it's important to read through everything. I'm telling you what kind of file I want submitted. Every single assignment I remind you that if you didn't know, students, you can upload files as large as 500 megabytes, which is pretty big. And it does work, but it takes time. So, you know, just be mindful of file size. I'm not taking points off, but if you're giving me a file that's over 500 megabytes, you're going to have to find a different way to get that to me, and using your Google Drive is probably the best way to do that. And then for those projects in the book, because they're tutorial based, I'll always give you an example of what what it should look like. Now, if you took the first level class from me, you should know that the tutorials, they're practice. It does not have to be perfect. You will see the tutorials cover material you've already learned, as well as expanding on new tools and techniques. So absolutely give your best effort, work through it, practice, clearly look at the grading rubric to make sure you're hitting all the points, okay? And I will tell you that because you're in the second level Photoshop class, I am going to be looking a lot at selections and how precise your selections are. So that is something that is very important in Photoshop, is making really good selections. And so I will be looking at that. But again, it is practice, so at some point you have to be done so that you can move on to the next project. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back out to home. So that's the book project. And the book projects aren't very heavy in points. So again, you can see this is a 25-point assignment. So I don't want you spending too much time on it. I mean, obviously time on it, but you'll see that there's a follow-up design project in week 3 that I'll talk about. Discussion questions, the week that a discussion question is due, you'll actually see the link for it here, but I will always give you a prompt in a previous week. So you'll see here's an activity start. This is where I want you to start working on it, because I want you to start posting ahead of time so that you don't lose points for participation. And then something new, if you were in my e-commerce class, you will know what a muddy point is. The muddy points you will see every week, almost every single week of the class. It's a way for you to talk to me either anonymously, or you can give me your name, and I just want to know what, like, the one thing of the week, 1 or 2 things that was the most unclear. It's a way for me to loop back around, provide some additional material, and just continue that learning process. So it's not required. The only reason it has a due date with it is so that it appears in your to-do list over here, so that it reminds you. And what I do is once the due date passes, I take all the questions and I'll post an announcement with all the answers to all the questions students posted. And again, you can do it anonymously. The only reason I give you an option to give me your name is so that I can reach back out to you directly and follow up and make sure that you are clear on anything that you were unclear on. So I'm going to go ahead and hide week 2. And just popping over to week 3, this is coming up, just talking about some more assignments. So you'll see there's a reading assignment here, select and mask, which is all about this new select and mask tool. It's very, very powerful tool. Here's a video on how it works. And then when you go to the next assignment, you'll see I actually have a small, short follow-up assignment where you're going to remove hair. dreaded hair from this woman and place her in a different background. And you're going to use that select and mask tool. So again, you want to make sure that you're reading and watching videos before you complete your assignments. And again, here's the awesome grade rubric that you want to make sure you look at, and you kind of use this as a guide as you're completing the work. So the next project I want to talk about are the portfolio builder projects. So these are larger projects. They're actually 100 points, but they're broken up into two parts. I'll talk about the first part, which is the Photoshop work. So portfolio builder project also comes from your textbook. It builds upon what you completed in the chapter. So in this case, chapter 1 tutorial, you did a lot of different work creating a poster. And then what happens is at the end of the chapter, you have a design project posed to you with an art director. You have some comments from an art director and some other minimal information, and you're going to create a project. And so you get to be really creative with the work that you do and put in everything that you've been practicing on, into practice. If there's additional requirements beyond what's in the textbook, I'm going to give that to you here. For example, I want you to include a layer comp that shows me the final design of your PSD file so that I know what your final poster would look like if you were to show it to when you show it to the client. The second part of the assignment is what's called the design justification and summary. This is 10 points out of the 100. I talk about it here, what it is, but you actually complete it as a separate assignment in Canvas. It's just an easier way for me to gather the information. So the design justification and summary, what that is that's your opportunity to tell me everything you did to create the assignment. So there's a lot of things you can do in Photoshop, and at some point you're going to be merging layers and using lots of filters, and there's no way for me to account for that. And so you have to explain to me what you did so that I can understand, and it helps me in the grading. So you definitely want to complete the design justification after you have completed the assignment, and it's a good idea that you maybe take some notes along the way. I use these tools, I use this process. I don't need every single step every minute of the day, but I'm looking for a general summary of your thought process and how you completed the assignment. So again, here's the grading rubric for that project. And then you will see it only adds to 90 points here. But when I go to the next button, the other 10 points is this portfolio builder design justification. Now it presents to you like a quiz, but it's actually not a quiz because you can go in and out of it as much as you want. Once you click submit, then you've just submitted the assignment. So when you click on it, I clicked on it before I started the video, so that's why it said resume. But you'll see there's just 2 questions. You just want to give me an explanation of the reasoning behind your design, and then you just want to give me a listing of the tools and techniques and videos, anything you use to help you create it. Now, points will be deducted for spelling, grammar, and formatting errors. So just definitely use spell check. I actually have Grammarly, the Grammarly plugin for Chrome installed, and it helps tremendously. I would highly recommend you all install Grammarly. I can't even tell you how it's like saving me in my writing. And I've been doing this a long time, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I mess up commas a lot, for sure. So the design justification, so going back, the design justification will always be a part of these big portfolio builder projects. And when you step out into the world, as web designers or web developers, you will at some point be required to justify the designs that you do. So this is actually a step towards what's happening in practice in business today. Going back to home, and because I am navigating away from the quiz, let's say, or this design justification, if I click OK, any work that I've typed in will be saved. So that is how you save your work if you want to come in and out of it. So if you wanted to take notes along the way as you're completing it, you could do that. Click OK, and it takes you back out. And so you'll see there's another muddy point here. One other thing I want to point out is the announcements. So the announcements are super important in my classes. It's how I talk to you every week. These will post every week at midnight on Sunday, and so you definitely want to check these out. Obviously not at midnight on Sunday. Hopefully you're asleep at that point. But before you start working on the work for my class, I definitely want you to read the announcement. My apologies. And so I talk about different things. In this one last week, I talked about Photoshop 2019. I talked about how I want you to proceed in my class, due dates, the muddy point, and then I'll always give you a summary listing of what you're working on and then what is due. So again, it's just a recap of what's already in the class, but it is important that you read these every week, especially before you start working on the content for my class. I know the video will end around 15 minutes, so it is a little bit long, but I do thank you for sticking with me, and hopefully this puts you at ease. And of course, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I look forward to working with you this semester. Thank you.